Hey guys, ito na naman si JP at uusapan natin ang about sa basic functional programming in JavaScript. So, firstly, ano ba tong functional programming? Also known as FP. It's a way of programming that emphasizes the use of immutability and composing. So, let's break this down. Ano ba yung ibig sabihin nito? Simulan natin sa pure function. Right. Yung pure functions ay basically kung nagpasok ka ng input sa kanya, yung lalabas sa kanya ay always kung ano man yung nagko-correspond sa input na yun. So, for example, if meron akong addition function, every time nagpapasa ako ng 1, tapos 1, magre-return siya ng 2 all the time. Walang exception dun. So, always ganun yung magre-return. So, that's easy to understand. So, gawa ka lang ng function. Like any function. As long as yung i-return niya is always what you'd expect. So, add function. Tapos, let's see the output. Yun. It's always gonna be 2. So, this is basic. Nothing different about this. So, what would function na hindi pure look like? So, nature. So, let's say it's gonna be something like this. Set get date 10 days ago. Something like that. So, let's see. Var current date equals new date. Var current day equals current date dot get date. Tapos current date dot set date current day. So return current date. So let's see the output. Days ago. Yun. So yung output is sorry. It should be 10 days ago. So this is minus 10. Let's see. So currently it's January 28. So naging January 18. Instead. So this looks fine. So ano yung problema dito? Every time you run this function, every day you run this function, mag-iiba yung output niya. So for example, if I run this tomorrow, the output would be January 29. So yun yung problem. Hindi na siya pure kasi first of all, wala siyang input. Tapos ibang output pa yung nire-return niya all the time. So problema yun. So how do we actually make this into a pure function? Well, that's simple. We just gawin natin date here. Gawin natin yung date. Now, this would be a pure function. Current date is not, sorry. I have to change this into date. That should be okay. Current date is not okay. Final na yun. Right. So, ito na yung example ng pure function. Kasi every time na kung ano man yung pasa natin dito, yung output niya would be as we expect. So, walang surprise. So, every time we run this with the same date, so, so every time you run this with the same object that you pass, with the same date object that you pass, hindi na siya, it would stay the same. So, for example, if you save this in the database, tapos, pulled it again, tapos you put it to this function, then it would give us the same result. Ganun. So, ito ay pure function na. So, let's move on. Right. So, also, pure functions do not have output aside from the value returned from the function. So, ang mga tawag dun sa mga things na yun, yan. So, things that a function does aside from its return value are called side effects. So, may ginagawa ka na hindi nakakapag-contribute sa return ng function mo, that is a side effect. An example would be printing to the console. That's a side effect. Kasi may lumalabas sa console mo. I/O, all I/O, lahat ng input-output to your machine, like nagtatype ka sa keyboard or uh, magpapalabas ka ng output anywhere. That is a side effect. So another example would be creating files or writing to a database. Those are side effects. Kasi hindi naman sila nakapag-contribute sa return mo. And they also do something na hindi in-expect ng function. Hindi sila predictable. So, avoid side effects. But that said, hindi ka makagawa ng any useful program kung walang side effects. So, what we do is we use functional programming as much as possible. Tapos we just keep the side effects only to those parts na nangangailangan ng side effect. So we keep the side effects to a minimum. Yun. So, pag may side effect ng function mo, yun dun siya nagkaka-impure. Naging impure. Tapos, yun nga, if may ginagawa yung function mo na aside from what it's intended for, na hindi nakapag-contribute sa return niya. Kasi, yung date kanina, it's still a side effect because kumukuha siya ng input from the computer itself. Right? So, yun, impurity, it's a side effect. So, don't do it. Next thing that we'll talk about is immutability. So, ano bang immutability na to? Pag sinabi natin yung isang bagay immutable, ibig sabihin hindi siya nagbabago. It can't be changed. So, mutable means you can change something. Immutability is when something cannot be changed. Hindi siya magbabago. So, yun yung itsura nito. Sa JavaScript, meron tayong var, tapos let, which allows you to change things. Change the value of a variable. So, for example, variable A, 1, and sabihin natin A2, yung B, C was the value of A, it would be 2. Kasi pinalitan natin. That would be same with let. Yung difference lang is yung scoping. So, sa functional programming, importante na hindi siya, a variable is not mutable. So, gagamit tayo ng const for that. So, what happens when we change this? Yun. Magkaka-error tayo kasi nag-assign tayo ng value sa isang constant na variable. So, bakit natin gagamitin yung constant na variable? Kasi, if may mag-change dun sa value na yun, tapos di mo in-expect, ginagawa mo yung code, nag-run yung code mo, yung value na gagamitin mo ay hindi na yung in-expect. Okay. So, for example, if may mangyaring ganito, function, some function, may mangyaring ganito, like, variable A. Tapos, ayun. So, return A. Tapos, meron tayong function dito. Meron something dito na magsiset ng value. Tapos, do something with A. Pero, it could also be a function, like some sort of function na ginawa mo beforehand. So, yung value ng A ay nag-change na. Iba na sa value dito. So, di mo siya, what if you did not expect this? Right? So, that could be a problem. Pero may ginagawa dito na hindi mo expected. So, mag-change yung value ng A, which is something you don't want. And we'll also see isang gamit ng immutability na to. Bakit importante yung immutability na to? So, yun. So, it's kind of hard to see dun sa primitive na example na yun. Pero mas madali siyang imaginein kung object. Right. So, sa JavaScript, kahit na gawin mong something like this, thing, value, 1. Kahit na const siya, yung hindi mo lang pwede gawin is, do something like this. Yun, di yan pwede. But, if you do something like this, it's possible. So, ano yung problema dito? Yung problema dito is, if we make something like this, parang yung kanina, do something. Sige. Tapos, var, or kahit na gawin natin const, thing, value, 1. Tapos, gawa tayong, tapos, sabihin ng save to db, thing, function. Gawin natin itong add 1 to value. So, sabihin natin 100 to. So, sabihin save to db, tapos thing. Tapos, pero meron nga nangyayari dito na something like this. Value plus 1. Tapos, yun, save na natin siya. db.persist db.flush, something like that. Tapos, i-return na natin yung thing. So, what happens? So, add 1 to value. So, yung value pa rin natin is, sorry, I forgot about this. Thing that value plus 1 is equal to thing value, thing that value is equal to. So, ito. Yun. So, kahit na yung function natin is add 1 to value, right? Meron tayong function dito, ng save to db, na dapat nag-save siya to db, na accidentally, quote and quote, sabihin natin accidental, na change yung value ng thing, yung value na key ng thing natin. So, hindi siya predictable. So, confusion siya, hahanapin pa yung bug na yun. Dito para sa save to db yung problem. So, kung immutable yung thing natin, yung object na to, this wouldn't be happening. So, how do we do it? How do we make this immutable? So, we can use object.freeze. Dito. So, now this, hindi na tayo pwede magdagdag ng anything dito sa function na to. So, let's see. Yun nga. So, hindi na nagbago yung value talaga ever, kahit na nag-add tayo. So, if naka-frozen yung function mo, paano mo actually paano mo siya actually manipulate? Kasi yun yung value ng function, ng object. Kasi you can change an object. So, may behavior ng isang object, like, OOP stuff. So, we can do something like this. Thing is equal to thing, tapos value plus value is equal to thing dot value plus 1. So, kasi constant. So, yung mangyayari is ganito. Save natin. or you can do something like const added thing. So now this should be 101. There we go. So nag-attempt tayo na kahit sa save to DB, nag-attempt siya na mag-add ng value. But since frozen yung value na yun, ay yung object na yun, hindi na siya nakapag-add. Instead, itong syntax na to, ang ginagawa niya, kinakopy niya yung values ng thing, tapos yung value na key, yung value yun ay nire-replace niya with another value. So, kung gumawa tayo ng bagong object, na yung value naging ganito, thing.value plus 1. So, kung isipin nyo parang inefficient siya. Pero, not sure about JavaScript, but most na functional programming languages na nagsusupport nito ay actually optimized siya. For example, if yung thing dito ay may other values na hindi naman natin change, parang yung reference nun, yun lang ina-add sa bagong object. So, you're just reusing space. So, hindi siya inefficient. Ayun, so that's the advantage of immutability. No sudden surprises, no no surprise bugs, no surprise defect. So yun, nakita niyo ba? So, yun yung important thing. Hindi ka masasurprise na may nagpasok ng function dito, tapos nabago pala yung value, tapos hindi mo na-expect yun. Kasi, if ikaw lang nagpo-program sa isang code base, okay lang. Kasi alam mo lahat ng nangyayari. Pero marami kayo eh. Something might change. So, imbes na poproblemahin mo pa yun sa code reviews, for example, hindi na. Kasi, making these things constant, freezing them, making them immutable, actually eliminates that whole class. Di ba? So, move on tayo. So, ano ba yung advantages ng functional programming aside from those? First is predictable siya. Yun nga. Sinabi ko kanina, kung ano yung pinapasok mo sa function, yun din talaga lalabas. Tapos wala siyang ginagawang extra things na hindi nagko-contribute sa nire-return ng code mo. Predictable yung function mo. Right? Alam mo na pag mapasok ka ng ganito, ito palagi yung mangyayari. Always, always, always. No exceptions. So that makes your code predictable. No nasty surprise. Number 2, testable siya. So, if madali siyang matest kasi predictable siya. So, every time nagpapasok ko ng ganitong value, you would expect na ganito yung output. Di ba? Yun yung usually form ng tests. So, given this value, expect na ganito. Di ba ganun? So, almost all na mga unit testing, like JUnit or Chai, ganun yung style niya, yung expects or assertions. So, and this is also declarative. Pero, well, let's talk about it later. Declarative. So basically, being declarative is you're telling your computer what to do, not exactly how to do it. Next is better siya sa parallel execution. Kasi ganito. Side effect to ng immutability. Kasi, for example, may dalawa kang threads, no? Tapos they were working on the same data. If one of those threads actually changes that data, tapos so nag-uunahan yung parallel processes mo, may race condition ka. So baka yung isang thread, yung value na yun, yung variable na yun, hindi na yung ini-expect niya. So yun, nagkakagulo na. Kailangan mo pang i-trace kung anong nangyari. So instead of having that problem, gawin mo na lang constant yung variable that you're working on. Tapos yung mga threads mo, gawa sila ng sarili nilang copy. That would be safer. That would be more predictable. So yun yung advantage niya. Another thing is, kung yung function mo is always, yung input niya is palaging the same output, you can cache the function. you can optimize the function. So, imbes na, lalo na, this is useful for mahabang calculations. So, magpasa ka ng input, it doesn't need to compute the value anymore kasi naka-cache na siya. So, kahit na mahabang calculation, pagpasa mo ng input, yung value would be the same. So, you don't need to compute it anymore. I-return na lang niya yung kailangan. Yung value na output. Kasi same lang naman yung lalabas every time you do the calculation. So, that's really, really helpful. So, sorry. So, that's the advantages of functional programming. So, ano yung ibig sabihin ko ng declarative? So, pinag-usapan natin yan. What does that look like? So, ganito yun. For example, meron akong nagko-compute tayo ng loss, for example. Tapos, for example, squared error. So, meron tayong a bunch of errors, no? So, let's see. Maybe this large. Let's put arbitrary values. 0.1, 0.2, 0.3. So, yun. Sabihin natin, these are your errors. So, compute tayo ng squared errors. So, squared. So, gagawin natin. Sometimes, usually yung ginagawa in other programming paradigms. Like kung sa OOP ka or sa ano ko yung other term? Procedural. So if OOP a procedural, sometimes they just do something like this. Let square error 0. Tapos yung gagawin mo for let I equals 0, I equals errors dot length I plus plus. Gagawin mo is sum of squared error. Sabihin natin ganito. Gagawin mo muna is wait, gawa pa tayong ano. Let squared errors. So, let's make it an empty array. So, mangyayari is errors I is equal to squared errors. Sorry. Append. Ganon. Right? So, tingnan natin yung squared errors. Still loading. What? Squares that... sorry. This should be push. I can't remember what language that. I think Python yun. Yun. So, ito na. Ito na yung value nung... Sorry, haven't done this in a while. So, ito na yung value ng squared errors. Pero di natin sila yung square. So, let's square this now. Let's see if this works. Bumana siya. Ayun, so, yung value niya is 0.0102. This JavaScript bug. Don't pay it too much mind. So, ganoon. So, basically, multiply na natin siya by itself. So, ito yung mga results. Errors na yun. Right. So, to make it sum of squared errors, pwede natin gawin na sum of squared errors I. Tapos, squared. Forgot about that. Right, squared errors. So, let's see. Do something like this. squared errors. Squared errors. Tapos, sum of squared errors. Sum of squared errors. Right. So, ito siya. So, we completed that. So, meron na tayong sum of squared errors. So, ano to? If you look at this, you're actually telling the computer what to do. So, sinasabi mo sa computer na gawa kang variable, tapos, for every iteration before natapos yung before mag-end yung errors, kunin mo yung nasa ith na position ng errors, square mo, ilagay mo sa squared errors. Tapos, after that, idagdagan mo yung number ng sum of squared errors ng value na yun. So, yun yung mangyari over and over. Pero this is readable by computers. This is not meant for being read by people. So, you're telling the computer how to do it exactly. So, yun, gawa ka ng variable, etc. etc. Tapos katapos noon, dagdagan mo yung counter para makapag-continue tayo. Yun. So, ito yung tinatawag na imperative programming. You're telling the computer how to do something. But yung goal natin is to tell the computer how to actually, what to do instead of how exactly to do it. So, instead of using a loop na ganito, we can use other methods na binibigay sa atin ng JavaScript. For example, meron tayo sa errors. Let's comment this out for now. Meron tayong errors. Errors is an array. So, arrays have a map function. So, what we can do is map. Tapos papasahan natin siya ng function. So, what map does is, for every value in an array, may gagawin siya doon or pwede wala siyang gawin, mas i-return niya yung value na yun. So, in the end, meron tayong, if we map over a function, magkakaroon tayo if we map over an array, magkakaroon tayo ng array with the same size ng input natin. And, yung kuan natin, yung errors natin is still mag-change. Kasi kanina, right, isa pang problem dito is, yung array natin ay dinadagdagan natin ng laman. Tapos, pati yung some squared errors natin, dinadagdagan natin. Change natin yung value, which is a no-no sa functional programming. You should not do that. Pag may makita kang let sa code mo, code smell na yan sa functional programming. That should not happen. So, yun. So, dito sa squared errors, dagdag siya ng dagdag sa values. Change yung squared errors na. So, yun. Same with some squared errors. So, yun. Change natin yan. So, by using map. So, let's try this out. Error. So, I'm using yung arrow notation ng functions in JavaScript to make this simple. Error. So, yung gagawin natin is error squared. Ano yung value nito? Yun. It is the same nung kanina natin. Pero, look at this. Much cleaner siya. And now that you understand map, sabihin mo, yun. Magmamap ako over each value in the array. I don't need to tell the computer na gawa kang variable until ganito lang, tapos add ka ng 1 sa iterator, gano'n. So, I don't have to tell the computer to do that. Gagamitin ko lang yung map. Now, what about para gumawa ng isang value given a whole list, given a whole array of values. Gagawin ako ng isang value. So, yung gagamitin natin for that is reduce. So, yung syntax ng reduce is meron tayong sum, meron tayong yung accumulator. So, ito yung magiging single value na i-return natin. So, for every iteration ng reduce na to, meron magkakaroon ka ideally ng bagong sum. That is yung ano yung i-return ng function natin. So, let's see. Squared error. So, sum plus squared error. Ito na yung function. So, if we check this out, yung value niya is kanina. Same sa pag you do the loops. So, this is much easier to read. Mas madali siyang basahin. Right? Tapos, it's much cleaner. Diba? Kaysa sa gumamit ka ng loops. So, mangyari dito sa reduce na to is actually may isa pa, pwede pa lang isang kwan dito. Isa pang argument for reduce. That is yung first value ng sum. Pero for this case, di natin to kailangan. Kasi if di mo siya i-provide, yung gagamitin niya is yung first value ng array na yun. So, ganito. Gagamitin niya yung first value nung output ng errors.map. It should be 0.01 0.01 right? So, yun yung gagamitin niya. And then, i-add niya with squared error, which is the second one, which is 0.04 or something. Ayun. So, yun yung mangyayari. So, yung first value nito ay magiging sum ng 0.01 tapos ng 0.04. Tapos yung itong return na to, yun yung magiging bagong sum na value. If you want to know more about sa reduce function, search nyo lang yung reduce dun sa Mozilla Development Network na site. So, may mga examples din doon on how to use this. So, basically, ganun. If you see this is much more readable kaysa sa gumamit ka ng loops. So, meron din tayong filter na function. So, but anyway, itong technique na to, this is commonly referred to sometimes when you're dealing with big data or distributed programming na map-reduce pattern. So, kasi nagmamap ka, tapos magre-reduce ka. So, just search also for that, map-reduce. Yun. So, for filter, gawa tayong another example. Meron tayong numbers. Tapos, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Something like that. Tapos, gusto lang natin i-leave out yung mga even numbers. So, what we can do is, gamitin yung filter function. So, gagawin natin is, it will be a number. And the usual check, we do num, tapos 2, 0. So, the value would be 2 and 4. So, ang mangyayari naman dito, if the return of the function na pinasa mo dito is true, i-leave out niya yung value na yun. So, this loops over each of the values and does the check. Yun yung filter. So, yun. So, every time you are doing loops, usually you're may pinaprocess kang list. So, if you're processing a list or an array, yun yung mga gagamitin mo. Map, filter, and reduce. That's almost all languages may support doon. So, you don't have to worry about that. Unless doon sa mga super low level lang. Ayun. So, if may keys ka na di mo talaga magagawa using map, reduce, and filter, you use recursion. That's what you use. Kasi in functional programming was invented by Alonzo Church, which invented lambda calculus. So, yung theory niya is you can do all programming using just functions. So, even when looping, you can use functions. So, recursion refers to a function calling itself. Okay. So, that's a usual solution sa paggagawa ka ng Fibonacci sequence or factorial. Diba? Ganun. Tapos since you're using functional approach, there are ways to optimize that. So, just search for that maybe factorial optimization or something. or optimization in functional programming. So that's the basics of functional programming. I hope may natutunan kayo and see you all next.